Hey you guys, how's it going? I am going to drop the first comment. Hey everyone. When you join, say hello. Tell me where you're from. And please do drop a comment. So my name is Chelsea Evans, and I am the owner and artist here on Apple Blossom Way. And I haven't been live for a little while on my page, and it's time to reconnect. It's time to get live and do some more projects with you guys. So that's what we're doing tonight. Welcome, if this is your first time. And if you've been here before, thank you. I'm glad you're back. For those of you that comment and interact all the time, I appreciate you so much. So much. It matters. I don't know if you know, but your likes and comments make a huge difference on our page, and it is so appreciated. And you can ask questions on pieces and on posts, and you can interact any way you want to, but commenting and interacting makes a big difference. And I know I really appreciate it, and I know a lot of the other artists I've worked with appreciate it, and we work hard and we want to give you the good stuff in return, and so that makes a big difference. So I sure appreciate it. So tonight, and then oh good, you're dropping your names, where you're from. I know I miss you too. I'm so glad to be here and say hi. It's fun to see some familiar faces. Hey Barb and Donna, Sherry, Tina, thank you. It's fun to see familiar faces from some of the classes that I've taught in person and in different areas of the country. So I really enjoy it when you pop on and say hi too. I think that's fun. For those of you watching the replay on this, you can hang with us for a second, or you can fast forward to your favorite part and rewind. And if you want to catch the replay later as well, you can. But sometimes the lives are fun because you never know what's going to happen. Indiana, cool. Ontario, London, Ontario. Cold. You probably hear that all the time. Like it's old, huh? But it is beautiful. Ontario is really beautiful. So what are we working on? We are going to be working on this antique jewelry box. And it is a cool one. I've never seen one like it. It's cool. It has like the little clock, but do you know what else it has? I didn't know this till I opened it. Well, let's see. Hold on. I don't want to give it away, but I don't know if it's wound up enough. Let's see. It's got a tight twister on it. Tight, what is that called? What am I look like? Like a clock. Anyway, all right. It's a little slow, but you can kind of hear it. It probably needs to be maintained. This probably needs to be opened up and kind of looked into and maybe maintained a little bit. So maybe I'll research it and see what I can find on that, because I think it's really unique and it's kind of a cool piece that I found. So yeah, maybe, I guess, I don't know, maybe not. It doesn't have like a maker's mark on it. Oh wait, it does. Oh, it says Japan on the bottom. So made in Japan. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. And it has blue velvet lining. It needs some work though. So today all we're going to be doing is prep work. I want to do a mini series for this piece because it's small enough that I can take it into bite-sized pieces for you, break it down a little bit easier to digest, and then I can answer more questions instead of throwing so much information at you at once. So I think it will be beneficial for everyone. I love musical jewelry boxes. Yes, yeah. It's a cool, fun piece, definitely a vintage piece. So anyway, what are we going to do for prep work? Let's talk about that. We're going to keep it really simple today. I am going to clean it because I always start with cleaning it, and then I'm going to sand it. We're just going to hand sand it today. I'm not going to pull out the big guns for this piece. It's kind of a delicate piece. The legs are a little bit more delicate on it, so I'm just going to do it by hand. So to clean it, I'm going to be using Green Easy. This is an awesome cleaner. It is also, they have a stripper that's really good too. But the cleaning part, the strip and clean is, it will get all of that grime and grease off of it. And it's a great degreaser to prep for your pieces. So the bottle comes in the size, and then I'll just dilute it a little bit. And I've read it before, but it's dilute 1 part degreaser to 8 parts water by volume. So I poured up about that much water into this cup, and then I'll just put, I don't like, what's that? Maybe a couple tablespoons of it in there. I'm not an exactor. I'm not an exact, precise kind of person. If you've seen any of my painting or know anything about me, you know, like mistakes and coloring out of the lines is probably my favorite thing about living life. Makes it really cool and fun. Hey Amanda, how are you? Oh Amanda, I'm wearing the bracelet. Amanda gave me a really cool bracelet, and it's in Morse code, and it says strong and fearless. I think, right? Was that the right one? I think that's what it said. But I thought that was really cool. Anyways, I love that. And the other cup is from my girl Lisa over at Iron Rose Co., the one I did the big brick wall for. She makes those cups, they're cool. All right, so we are going to clean it and sand it. I'm gonna use Surf Prep rad pads to sand it with. We'll just do it by hand. I love Surf Prep's rad pads, and I do have an affiliate link with them. If you want to get it, I can give you a 10% off discount. It's just Apple Blossom 10. Apple Blossom 10 is the 10% off you can get with any Surf Prep products. You can use on the sanding systems, but if you just want to do some sanding by hand, have some small projects, this is awesome for wood finishing, any wood products. Rad pads are the bomb. I love them. They last a long time, and because they're flexible and moldable, you can take them around surfaces really easily. So you can sand all of your curves and edges and do a really good job of sanding when you're doing hand sanding and you're not dealing with crinkly sandpaper. All right, so we'll use those when it's time, but you don't sand first, okay? Oh, Hannah, you rock. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You're the coolest. I recently spent some time with Surf Prep in California, and they are incredible people. I knew they were, but they are incredible people. Everyone Wazal, redesigned with Prima, really good. They're the good stuff. It's true. Okay, so we're gonna clean it. I've got my water. I'm going to wear gloves. Whenever I use chemicals to clean, I always wear gloves. It's not gonna eat your hands off, but you wanna protect them. And you don't want them to get dried out and cracks and stuff like that. So I always wear gloves. My favorite gloves are the nitrile gloves, and I've tried them in different thicknesses. This one's a 9. These are really pretty thick. I probably don't need that thick of gloves. Like the 7 or 5 is probably just fine. These are pretty thick. But like if you did mechanical work, see, that's why it's fun to watch live. If you did mechanical work or whatever, these would be great. Hairstylists, these are great for. Okay, anyway, I've got my Green Easy. I'm just gonna put, like I said, I don't know, I'm just guessing. That's probably good. A couple tablespoons in with that. Hey girl, hey Holly, how we doing? Holly is my right-hand girl. She is my assistant and she's incredible. I love her and I appreciate her very much. Okay, so I've got my cleaner right here and I'm just gonna use some paper towels. Thanks, Shauna. Good catch. And then I'm just gonna clean it with a paper towel. So there's a little bit of buildup on this. There's not any crackling or anything like that, but you can see some of that. See how the wood looks a little discolored, like grayed or brown? That's just grime and grease that's built up over years, probably just from people touching it with their hands. So I'm going to use the degreaser to clean that and get all of that off. You don't want to sand first. If you sand before you degrease, what's going to happen? You are going to be pushing that into the open pores of the wood. As you sand back and you start to open up that grain, you're going to push that grime right into the grain, which will cause problems later on when you're staining it or sealing it. Those can seep up through and cause blemishes in your finish and can be real pain to get out. So always clean before you sand. Even if you're gonna paint, just clean first before you sand that gunk in. Now the nice thing about this cleaner is I really don't have to scrub very hard because it's doing all the work for me. So I could put this in a spray bottle and spray it. If I was gonna do that, I would wear a mask just because I'm kind of spraying it up into the air. But I'll just kind of dab a little bit onto the piece to clean it. Oh, I was gonna take off the hardware first. I'm not gonna do the front yet. I forgot there's hardware on this piece. Take your hardware off first, people. That's rule number 1. Don't do what I just did. No, it's fine. I caught it. I mean, I could clean it and then take the hardware off, but then I have to clean it again. So it's not a big deal. I just don't want to clean it twice. So it's fine. Let's do that. Okay. Yeah, I can already tell that all of that grime is just kind of coming right off and I don't even have to do much work, which is awesome. All right, so now I'm just going to take a dry paper towel. And if this was on a, like, I say life-size piece, meaning a dresser or something large, I would be using old t-shirts and old towels, rags, things like that to be cleaning. I wouldn't be using paper towels because you go through way too many and you don't want to be wasteful. Seriously, save old t-shirts. If your neighbors have old t-shirts they're gonna throw out, then tell them you want them and then rip them up and use them as rags. I do that all the time. Not with just like random neighbors, that would be weird. But if they're like a close friend that knows I do furniture, okay, there's only one person that's ever given them to me. And Kim, if you watch this, it's you, but you can do that, recycle and just use what you have and you don't have to go buy fancy rags or go through tons of paper towels. But on this piece, it's worth it. Okay, so that's just kind of showing you from just wiping the cleaner on and then just with a dry rag, you can see how much is coming off. So that's why it's so important to make sure you clean your piece as well before you just start sanding. So how have you all been? If you could see my neighbors. Oh, wouldn't that be funny to imagine just how many people have crazy neighbors? And some would probably be more than happy to give you all of their old t-shirts. Okay. Well, let's just clean this one part. All right. Okay. And then to test it, to make sure this is clean, I will, and you don't have any grime, make sure it's not sticky. I take my glove off and then I'll just feel it and I can tell it's smooth to the touch. My hand's not catching. There's no grime or anything coming from it. And so I know that there's no buildup left on it. All right. So now if I were to just kind of rinse it with a little bit of water, then I would be fine to go ahead and start sanding. I mean, look at it too, obviously, like you can touch and look to decide. Okay. Sometimes I say dumb things when I'm live because I get nervous. That's okay. Okay, let's take off the hardware on the front. So it has pretty flat. Oh, is that what it's called, Donna? I don't know if I should. Okay, it probably is dirty right here. You're right. The back isn't finished. It has the stain on it, but it doesn't have the same finish as the rest of the piece. So I'll come back and clean the back later. But I do want to take the hardware off because I want to show you a little bit of sanding. So we might skip cleaning the back right now, but yes, I will definitely go back and clean the back. So to take off this hardware, it's pretty flat. It has little tiny nails holding it in place. And so I've got a little mini screwdriver handy, and I also grabbed a little spatula to use. This is just from the dollar store. It's like an icing spatula, but it works great for this and also applying texture to your pieces. So I can just pop it under there and then use both tools to get it. Going live is not easy. I give you credit. Oh, you could totally do it. I think going live seems real scary, and it can be. The first time I went live, I almost never went live again, actually. I almost never went live again. Isn't that crazy? That's wild to think about. Yeah, I almost didn't go live because they were being mean to me. And because I thought I was what they were telling me I was, but I wasn't. They said, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know enough. Stop telling people how to do it wrong or the wrong way. And I felt like I wasn't good enough. And I felt like what if I wasn't right? And I questioned myself and I didn't have the confidence. But I went live anyway, even feeling that way. And that was the only reason why it affected me, because I thought that about myself too. And I cried to Skylar, Mr. Apple Blossom, I refer to him as that. But I cried to him and I said, and he was like, do you even know who these people are? They're like bots. This one's from Germany, doesn't have any friends, nothing else. And I'm like, oh, okay. I still believed that I was those things though, so it took me a long time. But I went live again. Somehow I talked myself into it, and then I kept going, and here we are today, after years of lives, working with various companies and getting to go travel all over the world to be able to teach and do videos for companies. Like, how cool, crazy. So do it scared and do it anyway, and just go for it. So there's your story. Don't be scared, just do it. Oh, thank you, Karen. Yeah. And people, you know, you got to come to realize that for yourself. People will tell you, okay, I'm going to use this tool now. But you got to come to realize that you are a really cool person and they're in a really sad place to take the time to be like that, you know? Which is, you feel sad for them. Hold up. This has something else on the inside of it. Okay, wait a minute. This one is hooked up. Oh, it has a bottom one. Maybe that's why. Oh, no, it feels like it's hooked here. I'm gonna have to take the velvet off. I think that underneath the velvet, yeah, it's tacked on. Okay, I'll look at that in just a minute. But underneath the velvet is tacked on. These handles go all the way through. So I think these little brass are like pins that go all the way through or something. I don't know, it's unique. That's cool. Let's see, I don't know if this one's that way. The top is that way, and the top feels different inside. This one feels flat. I don't know, I guess there's only one way to know. Oh, I was just reading some of your comments. I'll come back and read some of those. I appreciate it. But I'll just kind of peel this back. If I had a heat gun with me right here, what I would do instead of just peeling this back, and actually I'm going to use this because it's a flatter and smoother. If I had a heat gun, I would hit it with just barely some heat, and then that would release that glue that's sealing the velvet to the wood right there. So it'd be much easier for me to just pry it back a little bit and look at that. But I don't have a heat gun right here, so I'm just gonna sneak a peek. Let's just sneak a peek and see. I don't think it's not hitting on anything, but, oh, yep, they are. Oh, they're like brads. Oh, those are cool. That'd be cool. Somebody make some big hardware like that with giant brads that go through. Okay, well, I guess I gotta make a decision if I'm gonna take the hardware off. I mean, I can, but then I gotta take all the velvet out. What do you guys think? What's your opinions? Do I remove all the velvet, take the hardware off? Paint the hardware? I know a lot of you are gonna be like, no, don't paint the hardware. Tell me what you think. Oh, thanks, Hannah. Paint over them. There's no wrong answer. And nobody be judgy about what anyone says. I just want to hear what you think. Like, there's no judgment. Just say what you think. Okay? If you think we should paint over them, let's do it. If you think I should do, I mean, we could totally paint over them. We could do, we'll clean it really well. We paint over them. we could do, we'll prime them, sand it, prime it, and then we could do like a decor wax from Redesign with Prima over the top, and then the hardware will pop and come back to a metallic finish, so we could give it like a copper, well, any tone, copper, silver, bronze, they have all the tones, so we could do something cool like that with it too. So those are all options. Take the hardware off, paint it, leave it. Or, I mean, I could tape around them, but that sounds terrible. You could use rubber cement, but I think it's too thick and not precise enough. So, I don't know. For right now, I'm just gonna clean them with the hardware on, and then I'm gonna think on it for a minute while you guys comment, see what you say. Holly says, remove the hardware and add decoupage paper, rice paper inside. That would be beautiful. They might be kind of pretty wood inside too, so maybe we could just salve the wood. Although I like the velvet and I think the blue's cute. Maybe it would be easier to clean though if I removed the velvet and then tried to put it back. Has anyone done that? I wonder if I hit it with a heat gun and it has glue between it, if that glue is going to release or if it's going to warp the velvet. See, these are all things that you think about. I want to do this live series a little bit different. Typically when I do a live with you, it's very fast paced, quick moving. I know you can rewind and replay, so I just keep going and I give you a lot of information in one video. But I want to do this series differently, and I want to share some of the way that my mind works and the way that I process things, because I feel like that's a really helpful way to teach people when you're just open and honest and you problem solve, and then they can listen to you problem solve and learn from that. And I talk to myself a lot, so I figured I would just talk with you here and then you can learn and it won't be weird. But those are my thinking ideas, my patterns, my processes for what we could do as far as that hardware. It's a conundrum. There's a lot of it. Let's see, this piece, I don't know. These are in pretty good shape. That's another thing to check out. They're a little dirty, but I can clean it up. This one is a little bit more. They probably put perfume in there or something. That's usually what happens in the bottom drawers. Yes. Rip it out, soak the cardboard with damp paper towel, and okay, that's smart. So Donna says you should rip them out and soak the cardboard with damp paper towel, and then she keeps the pieces so she can make templates for new velvet. So she just put new velvet in there. Okay. Okay. I like that idea. Yeah, because I wonder if the original velvet's just too, you know, sometimes you just got to replace the carpet. Sometimes it's just not going to get clean, so you got to just replace the carpet. Okay, well, let's just clean it for now so we can sand it. Or let's just sand the sides. Let's do that for right now. Okay, so I've already cleaned them with the Green Easy, and I wiped them down with a wet and dry paper towel. Now I'm just going to take some water. This is just a spray mister that I use for painting, but I'm just gonna kind of lightly mist the piece, and then I'll wipe it down with paper towel. Again, that way I know that I don't have any cleaner. Whatever you're using, if you choose to use Green Easy, I can help you get it. If you want to use Crud Cutter, that's great. If you want to put a little bit of Dawn dish soap in there, you can use that. It really depends on your preference and the project. And if you have questions, I'm always happy to chat with you about that too. I can usually troubleshoot things like that pretty quickly with you. But anyways, just clean it and then make sure you wipe it down. You can wipe it down with the damp cloth, or you can kind of spritz it with this. I'm doing it here because I don't want to deal with water and cloths and all that stuff. So just thought it would be easier. Okay. Now I'm ready to sand. There's no grime on it. It feels nice to the touch. I can see that there's no buildup on it. And I've gotten any residual cleaner out of it because I went over it with water, okay? So now for the grit of sandpaper. It depends on what I am going to be doing with it. And how slick the surface is. So this has a really thin top coat on it. I can tell by looking at it and by feeling it that the top coat is very, very thin. So if I use a really coarse sandpaper, it's going to scratch the wood and go right through that top coat really quickly. I don't think I need it, especially for this one. So I'm gonna set that aside. I am going to paint this. It's gonna be pretty though. If I was going to strip it and then restain it, I would just sand it with my Surf Prep sander. The 3x4 would be perfect for this. I would totally just go with the Surf Prep and do that. But I'm gonna paint it. And tomorrow, I will share with you my ideas on how I'm going to do it. So we'll just do a short series and then I'll walk you through my creative process. I started writing down a couple ideas of what I wanted to do, but I stopped myself because I think it's important to share that creative process with you as well. So we will do that tomorrow. You can clean and paint the velvet too. Yes, I have painted velvet before. I may replace it. I don't want to give away a secret, but I was thinking about painting some florals like the last painting I did on the inside of the drawers maybe. So that blue would be nice, but I could do something else to match. Okay, all right, so that leaves me with, there's the fine, which is the blue, there's the yellow super fine, and there's the very fine, the red. So there's what's 8 in a pack of the rad pads, that's what they come like. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the fine. I think that's plenty coarse enough. This kind of feels like maybe around 220 grit, something like that. I would say if I had to compare it to something, the coarse would be something like 100 grit, maybe 80 grit even, and then so on. I'm not gonna keep guessing because I'll be probably way off and waste everyone's time. So we're gonna go with the blue fine, and I'm just gonna sand with the grain on this. I'm also gonna sand against it because I want to create a cross-hatch pattern in the surface so when I apply my primer and paint, it's going to adhere to it really well and last a long time, especially when people are obviously touching the piece a lot, okay? Go ahead and go with it. And this has a little bit of a curve to it, you can see. So it's nice with the rad pad because it kind of, you can mold it around that curve. And then on the top edges. Whoa, I'm shaking the whole table. Sorry, guys. We'll just pull these out for now. I keep them in order, and you know, I'm sure they've been misplaced and gotten out of order many times, but I try and keep them in order of how they got them out of the piece. Just because sometimes they fit a little bit differently. Maybe they were pulled over the years in a certain direction. 1, 2, 3. On a bigger piece, I would number the drawers on the back. Usually back right corner, I'll put a drawer number. That way I know where I got them. And then sometimes when you put it back together, before you do any painting or anything, double check it because maybe they didn't have the drawers in the right place or something too. So you always want to double check that. Okay, now I'm going to go the opposite way. So cross-hatching just like I said. And then that's just gonna give better grip to my sandpaper. I can even fold it in half when the space is too tight. This is a great example to be able to show you why I like these so much, because it's so much different trying to use sandpaper. If you've used sandpaper or a film disc or anything like that to try and sand something like this by hand and try and keep turning it so you get just enough grip on the sandpaper, maybe I'm the only one that does that. It's a pain. It's a pain in the butt. This is much easier, and I can do the whole thing. Usually I can do, I mean, a whole dresser easy with one of these, depending on the size of the dresser. Maybe, I feel like I'm gonna have to like hold it and sand it, so I'm not shaking the table. Okay, and all I want really is just to get that fine finish off and have those fine scratches in it so that my paint will adhere. But if there's blemishes, if I'm going for a really nice smooth finish and there's any blemishes, then I really want to get in maybe with a tougher grit sandpaper and kind of smooth those out and work out any of those divots. But if I have a really pretty good finish, or if I'm doing any texture, then I don't really worry about things like that. I'm a texture girl, and I think, well, I don't know. We're not gonna brainstorm, but I'm gonna be okay with it. So I'm not gonna go in with a tougher grip because I know my style and I know what I like and don't, and I know that I'm okay with that. So we won't worry about it. Okay, I always dust off after I sand before I wipe it down. If it's a big piece, if it's like a large dresser or hutch or something that I've been sanding, then I will go in with my vacuum and just my shop vac or my surf prep vac. If you have a surf prep vac, you can use that too. And then I'll just kind of vacuum all of the crevices. It makes it nice when you sand drawers that kind of have an indent or something when you use a vacuum, because you can get all of that out first. And then just kind of wipe it off with a dry rag or towel, in this case, a small paper towel. And then you can wipe it off with a damp rag or spritz it down with a little bit of water and then wipe it off with a dry paper towel. Okay, well, I feel like that, at least for the side and the top, is good enough for what we want to do. And why I say good enough for what we want to do is because it does have a few of those little divots. If I wanted a super smooth finish, a refinish, then I would take a harsher grit and really sand and smooth that out and maybe fill and clean that up. But I'm good with it. So this is good enough for the finish that we are going to be doing. I will continue and do the other side, and I'll do the front and the drawers. I'm going to decide what to do on the hardware, and then I'll let you guys know in the comments. If you have any other ideas, I'm totally open to them, and I would love to hear it because I think this would be a fun project to do together, and then you can kind of tune in and watch as we go. So let me know what you think. Let's see. Yes, the rad pads are super cool. And you know what, I'll tell you what, you all have been so amazing. So if you just will drop a comment and write rad pads in it, then I will pick someone, and I have 2 packs of these actually. So I'll give out 2 of these. So just drop, just write the word rad pads, and then I'll pick tomorrow. So anyone who's watching live, or if you watch the replay, do it, and then I'll ship it out to you. Cool? I think that'll be fun. And you'll love them, I promise. They're way cool. All right, well, let me know if you have other questions. I'll ponder on the drawers, and then I will see you tomorrow. I'll let you know what time, and we'll go live again, and we're gonna brainstorm. So I think that'll be fun. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.